when I look at what our time is worth as a commercial photographer, our shooting rate, and I'll be honest, is $165 Canadian an hour. And with that, I could be out in the field working with clients, meeting more clients, even taking clients out for a simple cup of coffee, really connecting with our clients. So the time that I freed up from doing it the old-fashioned way, where I would import all the photos and then I would run them through Lightroom and I'd make adjustments and I'd export out of Lightroom and then I'd open them all up in Photoshop and I'd do all the skin retouching in the eyes and the teeth and the skin and the blemishes, and then I would resave them out of Photoshop. It has taken our workflow of a wedding, which was probably 15 hours, and from start to finish, it's probably blocked it down into about 4 to 5 hours. So we've gained 4 to 5 hours back of our life on one wedding. So if we look at an average person that's working, for 48 weeks out of the year, let's say, so a little bit of business conversation here, 48 weeks out of the year, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I think it's around the 18 to 1900 hours, right? So if you do 20 hours, 20 weddings a year, and you're getting 80 to 100 hours back, do the math. So not only is it allowing you more time to spend working on your business, because too many times as photographers, we are an independent, and many studios don't have assistants or full-time staff because they're smaller studios. So as my accountant always says, you're the minder, you're the grinder, and you're the finder. So if you're that type of studio, allow Perfectly Clear to make your images look phenomenal right out of the gate. Therefore, you can go and be the minder and the finder, because the grinder you're already photographing everything, but really it's about giving back to your client. So again, getting a bit deep there, but with this you can open up a lot more opportunity to go out and spend time and build relationships, because that's what photography is all about. So what we're going to do here, back to it, is we've now gone in and Pi Design Proof. So I'm going to hit OK. And what this is going to do is it's going to go ahead and I'm going to come over here to the bottom right and I'm going to save that. And what it's going to do is it's going to save this image down in here, right here. And what it's going to also do is allow me to now come in. Now here we are, just finished a photo shoot. I want to come in. I have imported the photos raw. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control or Command A, so select all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to export these as proofs because my client really wants to see these quickly. Now, your client expects you to come in and be creative. They expect you to come in and be this whimsical artist, and because nobody likes having their photograph taken. So the more dynamic you can be in the finished proof or the polished proof, the more that they feel that they've hired the right person. If you're out shooting family portraits, we used to do a lot of them on large canvases and whatnot, and do like the whole sit down and the sales session and the preview and all that kind of stuff, and it was a fun process. The hardest process was coming in and picking our, say, 6 to 10 that we would artwork, that we would move into collages, wall feature pieces, large canvases, takeaways, parent features, all these little items that we used to sell. Now, with Perfectly Clear, we can get this process in and out in probably about 20 to 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. So we used to invest 2 hours and then go into the sales room and keep our fingers crossed and go, gee, I hope they like themselves. Right now, we can do it in like, let's say 20 minutes tops. Download, pick the ones in which we want, because we know when they're sharp, we know the expressions. Again, if we've built a good relationship with our client, we'll be able to know hopefully which ones, and also sometimes get into your client's home and maybe do some of the first consultations in your client's home. Then you can look at wall space and you can look at opportunities. So if they're talking about the one wall that runs parallel to the fireplace, you'll know exactly where they're talking about. Then it feels like you're part of their family. So a little bit of help for those people who are just wondering, maybe you're portrait photographers and you're trying to move into doing a lot more sales, and again, call it concierge style service. So adding just a little bit more value. So what we would do is we would bring this in. Let's say Amy needs this, but she is a head of her own design company. So I've selected all these, and I'm going to go ahead and shift Command E, and what that's going to do is it's going to export these. Now there's few options. I can go ahead for people that are comfortable in Lightroom, and you can go ahead and I can choose to go through. I'm going to go in here to 2015, come down into perfectly clear. Today is April the 8th. And I'm going to create a folder for this, and I can go ahead and put those images there, and I can change them to Amy Proofs. This is the old way. I would have done that. I would have put a watermark across it, and I would have gone all the way through. That's exporting to the hard drive. Now the cool part is I can come in here and I can pick that I want to send them off to Athentex's Perfectly Clear version 2.0. Now there's a few different things here that you really want to take advantage of. Now, big community today. If anybody has any questions, fire them through. We're here to help and here to shine the light on how to increase workflow. So I can come in here and pick the user presets, or I can come in and pick my own. So sorry, system presets, or I can come in and use users. So I've gone ahead and I've made my own. Now the system presets, you see here that these are all the ones, those windows that were there. Okay, so you've got 8 presets that were built in exact same. You can pick one of those. This little checkbox here is, I find, very imperative. Hide perfectly clear window. So if you just want the action to run on everything and you don't want to really take a look and kind of tweak every image and just let it doing what it's doing. So if you have, say, 25 staff or 50 staff from a accounting office and you're all using the same light, the same look, everything, and you just want to send some proofs out and get that stuff done, once you edit your one, you can then batch workflow the whole thing and export it doing this. And you don't need to show anything. You can just hide the perfectly clear window. If you want to, just come in here and you're going to go user presets and Pi Design Proofs. And so we're going to use the one in which we just did. So I am going to uncheck that today just to show you what it looks like. So as we go through this, I'll then say, okay, you know what? You remember where we could have said to hide the perfectly clear window? You just click that and it will hide it. So I've picked my specific folder here, and my export location is still the April 8th perfectly clear webinar. Amy Proofs, so I'm going to leave them there. JPEG, sure, quality, Pro Photo RGB, sure, resize. Now we're just going to make these proofs, okay? So what's going to happen is, let's say we're going to take them to 2250 pixels on the long edge. We don't want to enlarge, and I'm going to put the watermark across it. So the cool part is in the perfectly clear window, I'm going to see what my watermark looks like too. So just going to wait for this to open up here. Just take 1 second. So there it is. So we're going to see, I can see already, this is the before, that's the after. Now that's an amazing difference right there. Brought up her eyes, brought up the color, the detail in her hair, like brought up the texture in the chair, the floor, her shoes. I mean, I'm quickly looking at shadow detail, contrast between the white and the black on the blouse, her teeth. That looks awesome. So again, I could very quite easily now just go ahead, once I flip through these, and go, you know what, I'm just going to export the whole job. Amy would never know. Amy would think that I've spent 2 hours working on her stuff, or probably an hour editing and smoothing and cleaning up everything. But it allows me to just, again, get through the workflow. Now, we charge our clients, we'll give you a bit of business background on this, we would charge her $165 Canadian an hour. From that, we also have a $65 processing fee. We had a great business coach, Andre Amiot, years ago, a Canadian fella, and he said to me, once the days of just giving stuff away, he's like, you're not really, you don't have the markup on the film, you don't have the markup on the developing. And he encouraged me probably 8-9 years ago when we were working with him to say, you know what, put in a processing fee. And we started with a $45 processing fee. A couple years later, we went into a $65 processing fee, and we haven't increased our processing fee in probably 5 years now. And when we had our biggest years, doing a lot of commercial work, it would add probably an extra 10 to 12. I think our largest year was almost $20,000 to the bottom line of your studio for charging that processing fee. So because you are the digital artist now, don't forget to work with that. Now, every job has a minimum of $65 processing fee. We very rarely go over it, only on big architecture jobs, but we very, very rarely charge more than that because of the fact that I can edit and proof this job out in less than 15 minutes. And so it's $65 an hour. So think of it like the car industry. You go in and get your brakes done, and they always say, oh, that'll be 3.2 hours. We know that the mechanic can do it in 45 minutes, but they're still going to bill us. So we're in a unique position that Perfectly Clear has brought this out, that we can go ahead and we can proof all these very, very quickly. So I've gone through the first one. I love it. Down here, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the second one. It's going to load up for me. I'm just going to check it. Looks perfect. I'm going to go to my third one. And this is all with the same preset. So cleaned up her eyes, gave it that really nice sort of kiss of light and a nice sparkle on her. Go ahead, I'm going to go to number 4 here, and look at that, removes the blemishes, brightens up the eyes, looks perfect, and I'm going to go to number 5. So this is me just cruising through, and again, look at that difference. That's amazing. I don't physically have to do anything to these. When I'm done, she may ask me to come in, push this arm in a bit. She does figure studies, so she's quite a strong girl, so but I might push that in a bit, might tidy up some of these flyaways obviously, but the major role of the skin blemishes and bringing those eyes up, everything's been done for me. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm happy, so I can go through and cruise through these very easily one by one. So if you have a large job, you can just flip through these and make sure that everybody's looking really good. I did this one just to show you. So now where that little checkbox was on our export, if we didn't want to see this window, if we trusted that our preset that we made based off of the images and the backgrounds and the lighting and all of these look very, very, very similar. So I knew that that preset that I created in the beginning would work. So with that, if you have different backgrounds and different, lighting scenarios, you may want to be a little bit pickier, but you know what? You can export them in groups too. If you wanted to call one Amy Proof Light, Amy Proof Dark, Amy Proof Exterior, or however you want to do those, make sure that you run those and keep them grouped, because this does go very, very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to save all. So you can see everything moving through very, very quickly here. Just got the little ding noise in my ear, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my hard drive where I've got stuff. Now it's this simple. If my client is working with Dropbox, I can also, what I can do is I can also export these right to the Dropbox, because I've gone ahead and looked at them in the Perfectly Clear viewer window. So this is what my client would be seeing on the other side. And it's taken me some time, probably 10 minutes to walk you through this, but I've also gone through the software and talked a bit about business and talked a bit about relationships. So in overall real time, this would be done very, very quickly, matter of minutes. So once I'm ready to go, I'll show you where that window is. I can come in and go export to Perfectly Clear, my location. I'm going to do something here, Dropbox, create a new folder, Perfectly Clear demo. I'm going to go ahead and hit create, export, everything's ready to go. And what it's going to do is it's going to send those up to my Dropbox right away. So it is something that is phenomenal. It speeds up the workflow. So I know that all of these are great because I've gone through them. So I'm just going to hit save all. Now, again, if I would have checked that little box that it would have been hidden, it would have been working behind the scenes for me, and I could go and I could move on to the next job. I could call back a client. I could write out a couple thank you cards. There's a lot of opportunity to reconnect with people. So while that stuff is uploading here, if we have any questions, fire them through. I'm just going to grab a sip of my coffee and move on to the next round. So thank you. All right, we're back. So what I'm going to do is come into my Dropbox up on my system, and I'm going to show you. If I go down to Perfectly Clear, and where are we here? Just a little wheel spinning. Perfectly Clear movie. Nope, wrong one. Sorry. Perfectly Clear demo. There it is. Wrong one. So if this was for my client Amy, they're already on Dropbox. She can already see those, and I've already shared those with her. So that's pretty dynamic. It's pretty amazing how fast we can do this kind of stuff. Now, this has all been, we've been online for about 30 minutes, and I've already talked you through business, talked you through opportunities, talked a little bit about pricing, why I love Perfectly Clear. I've shown you the catalog. I've shown you how to make a preset. I've shown you how to export a preset, preview them in the window, showing you how to export them up to Dropbox, and I've shown you what the final proofs here look like. Now, all that in 30 minutes. Now, if you want to really get comfortable with this, these webinars that they put on for free is a phenomenal value. You don't see a lot of people out there doing this. I often want to learn more about softwares, and I always try and find things with other, independent softwares, and I have to subscribe, I have to pay, I have to YouTube people and try and understand what they're really doing, and I get lost, and it's sometimes a little bit too lengthy. So it's great. So thank you to Athentech and Perfectly Clear for putting these on, and thank you for having us online. It's always fun. So everybody understands how simple that can be. I'm going to go back to my library, and I'm going to just pick through here. So I'm going to show you the next thing we're going to walk through, I think, for today is to, let's do these two really quickly. So what's happening here is we have the Nanaimo Airport Authority of the Board of Directors. We've got Lucy and Al here, and I'm just going to go ahead and edit in. And what I can do is just come into Perfectly Clear right here, and it's going to open up here, edit the original. But what I'm going to, now if it's a raw file, it's going to only allow you to do a, it's going to make a second one. So it's not going to allow you to edit the original. Let me just go through that again. So if I go in here and I right click on this, this is a JPEG file right now to work with. And I'm going to come into version 2.0 just to show you the window. Edit a copy with the Lightroom adjustments. If you have your raw files in here, which I always do, but working with a webinar to keep everything moving quickly on the screen, we run JPEGs for you. But edit a copy, we'll make another copy of this, and then I'll see Airport 1 and then Airport 1-edit. And edit a copy with the Lightroom adjustments. Well, if I've made some adjustments on here, so if I come in and I want to make any sort of adjustments, I think that this white is a little bit too hot, I can come in here and I can tone that down. And then what I want to do is come in and edit in version 2.0. Now you're going to see that I can edit the original or edit with the Lightroom adjustments. And I'm going to go ahead with this one and just edit with the Lightroom adjustments because I have made some adjustments back there. I'm just going to keep it in a JPEG, and but you do have the awesome options here. If you're shooting an sRGB or 1998, you've got your different bit depths. Obviously, TIFFs I would work with 16s, but I'm going to just work with a JPEG to keep it quick here today. So what we're going to do is this is then going to open up, and you can see down in the window it's given me number 1 and number 2. So it's given me a second copy here. So what's going on right away is it's picked the algorithm which they think Lucy should have, thinned out her face a little bit, got rid of the blemishes, cut down on the shine on her face, whitened up her teeth a little bit, and brought out the nice details and textures. Hasn't changed the background at all. You know what? That's pretty amazing. The one thing I am going to do is tone down on the face slimming. I don't need her to go that far. Blemishes are great, little bit of change on her because I know that Al, the second guy that I'm going to run, is a little bit bigger. So if we go ahead and run that same preset, let's say we had 20 board of directors, this is the same thing, same type of look. So what I'm going to do is create this and call it Airport, just so I know what these are. Airport webinar, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now if I want to go in and just make the extra adjustments because I just want to speed stuff up, I can go through here. That's the old, that's the new. I can go ahead and I can unflag that, or I can zero that out, which is going to get rid of it. So there's her edited one. Now when I go to Al, I can come in here and I can right click and I'm going to edit in. Here we go. Now there's no adjustments, so I can just go in and hit the original. So if you want to do one by one, you have that opportunity. I'll show you how, and let me just go in here to my presets. And we're just going to come in here to airport webinar, and you can see right there. Same eyes, a little bit of detail on the face. Now what I knew is I didn't want to pull too hard on this wall, because then for those telltales it might show that the wall has been dragged, but we're really focusing in on him because we shot it very shallow. Warmed up the face, you know, cleaned up the eyes, all's done. So all that very simple in a matter of, we started 4.5 minutes ago editing 2 files, and now I can come in here, and if I want to just take this one and this one, if I just want to export those, I can do that. Now don't forget, when you are exporting stuff and you're working within, depending on how your Lightroom catalogs are, you do want to make sure, so if you're always going to be doing that, you want to go back up to your hard drive, and that's when I would come up here, change the location, let's call it airport. This is an airport demo. Create, choose. These aren't proof. So again, walk through your windows, right? Airport. And I'm going to come down here. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to shut that off, and I'm going to turn that off. If I want to go ahead and put a different one, where are we here? Concept bright, concept middle, middle soft proof, simple concept, copyright watermark. Nah, we're going to do something like this, let's say. And we're just going to go ahead and export those. So we're going to export them at their full high-res version. So don't forget, you have to tell everything on the system where you want it to go. So you can do that with, let's go in here, perfectly clear webinars, and we're going to go to April 8th. And from there, where are my airports? What did I do here? I think I've moved it by accident. Let's go back in here, and we're just going to export these here. Perfectly clear to, oh, because we put them up in a Dropbox. My bad. That's right. So there you go. I didn't walk through that stuff properly. Let's go to demo. Let's go to the airport demo, and let's just take a look here. So there we go. We have both people, my nice little logo based off in the corner, which I would never do for these because they are going into an annual report. But again, it shows you the versatility of how many things that you can play with when you're in Perfectly Clear. It's just not a simple plugin. I believe that it's simple in so many ways, but extensive and dynamic in so many others. So we're going to go ahead, and what I want to do here is just go through and show you what we're going to be doing with Lucas and Anna today. And this is my couple. We just shot this wedding recently. I mean, beautiful girl. You know, fantastically handsome groom. They both have beautiful skin. They both have, you know, I mean, a gorgeous look. They were great to photograph out on the North Shore. So we're going to go ahead and show you how we're going to work with these. So there's 2 ways. This is a beach scene, and this is a great way to show you that everything that I have here has a very similar background. So I can come into one that's very neutral, and I could go ahead, and we're just going to go edit in version 2.0, and I'm just going to edit the original, and we're just going to see what it does for us right away. See what type of dynamic changes it does for me. So you can see it sort of looks muddy. It's really snapped up all the color. I mean, it just warms it right up. So honestly, my eyes, my time to get from point A to point B to make that simple adjustment in Lightroom, I'm not a techie person, so this has just made my life so much easier. So what I love about it is that I can come in and, wow, was that on? What I want to do is go through things. The details, no. The vivid, no. Beauty, beautify plus. Just soften the skim up a bit. No, no, no. Not a big fan. So this is what it's read through, but do like it. I can come into some of the things that I've even worked on. So I had one last time, Anna and Lucas webinar. Bang, lots of contrast, looks really, really good. Coastal Community Credit Union. Now again, it's a totally different preset, but you can see it's a little bit darker. We were working in a super bright office. I could go to family. I was obviously working with a family. I know that was for Chad and his family. We wanted to rich up all the colors. HBT, not much of a change, but I could certainly come in and call it perfect face. That's a terrible spelling, but I'm going to go Pi Design Proofs. And what we're going to do here is start with that. So you can see it's a little bit of adjustments, but I can come in here and just come in and adjust some stuff. I want to maybe add, see what the fidelity does, and I'm just going to go standard on that. And I just want to see, bringing out some real nice rich detail. Now the one thing that I do want to watch is that the skin tone is good, and I'm not doing anything else. I don't need the catch lights, it's not enlarging the eyes, don't need to slim the face. So you know what, that's a great adjustment. So I can come in here and call this, just call it Anna, and I'm going to save that. So now again, we can batch process these all the way out. Okay, so we can go ahead and we can do it that way. The other way in which I can do this is I've gone in, let's say, and I can make any sort of simple adjustments, you know, but if I like everything that I'm seeing here, you know, some are going to be a little bit brighter, you know, so I'm just going to come in, and again, there's always ways. If there's something that I see that I want to be a little bit different, I can come in and I can change those, bring that down a bit, bring that up a bit, you know, and I can hit previous. So this is how the normal workflow used to be, trying to pick stuff that I used to see. So cruising through, I can come up here, that one looks really, really bright, I can hit previous, and it's going to bring all those details back just a little bit. So if you want to do your first round like that, go ahead and do it like that. The other thing that I can do with your stuff is once you've culled all your images, so you get your wedding back, you're in the studio, you're doing what you need to do. I've made my selections, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to export these. Now I'm going to put these into my appropriate spot today, April 8th, and call this Anna and Lucas wedding. Very important to keep all your stuff organized. And if I want to go ahead and make another one here, edited finals. Let's just keep everything organized so that, you know, when I do look at it, I've got my Anna and Lucas wedding, I've got the finals. I might have another one that's like black and white. So I keep individual files across the whole board in all of our stuff whenever we're working. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into the edited finals today. I'm going to choose that. I'm going to get rid of my watermark, and I'm going to export using version 2.0. I'm going to hide the window, and I'm going to go ahead, and this one was called Anna. So I'm going to run that whole set on this whole thing because, now one thing to remember, if you're doing a wedding and you want to do the whole wedding or just a section of the wedding, remember where you left off, because if I have in here 25 images picked and I want to go ahead and do another group with a different one and have it as, make sure that my numbers are coinciding, that's number 25. So I'll go Anna and Lucas. Don't reopen this and just keep it number 1, because it's going to say, do you want to overwrite? What you want to do is then come in and go, you want to start with 26. Okay, so I'll just leave it there because it's not a big deal. Actually, what I'll do is do this. I'll export number 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and export this again, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to start with number 26, and let's export that as well. So what it's doing up at the top left side, you'll see here, is it's got 2 operations in progress, and what's happening is it's going to export number 1 to 25, and then actually it's going to export the whole batch again from 26 to 50, showing that if you've got, you know, say 15, 20 images down on the beach and their wedding party and individuals, it's all about finding a way to use the system that's been provided for us to get us through our workflow. So if anybody has any questions on how that kind of works or how my brain works on getting stuff out of the system, certainly let me know. So what we're doing is we're applying that first preset that just brought up everything to a beautiful starting point that looked fantastic. We're doing that right away. So we're actually exporting everything without the perfectly clear little window down here, but you can see that the little icon that it's highlighted, what that's telling me is that it's starting to rock and roll, everything's exporting, it's working behind the scenes. So this is, let's say if you have, you know, a couple different sets of images going on, you could be exporting a multitude of things, You could get on to your next client, you could set up the lights for the next photo shoot, you could write a couple thank you cards. So that's where we're really trying to show you how streamlining the workflow, essentially moving your workflow into almost like a hyper overdrive, trying to bring everything, trying to free up time, and that's something that is very, very valuable. So what I'm going to do is come into the hard drive here and show you what's going on. We've covered a lot today. So what I'm going to do is come into, 2015, and I'm going to come down into my Perfectly Clear webinar, and I'm going to go into April 8th. Again, you can see how everything is nicely organized. We're keeping it simple, and I'm going to go to Anna and Lucas wedding and the edited finals. Now, check it out. It's exporting both sets. You can see that it's like some of these will match up very, very nicely, but we've got everything. So once we see the exact same photo, number 6, and this is going to be number, what's that one? 31. So by adding that second group of numbers, if you do have a little bit more there, then that will allow you to export the next group. So if I was up on a volcano, or if I was in a resort and I had 15 to kind of 20 images, it's worth me taking the time to create the preset and then exporting all those within that area. Often whenever you're in a reception hall, you have a specific look to your stuff. So if you wanted to just bring up the details and work all through that, then that would be fantastic. So export, okay, that was done. Thank you very much for letting me know. A couple little dings in my ears and letting me know that I am good to go. So we're just going to come back and show you here that these are all the edited finals. So if I want to come in, and we've got, so there we are. Images, skin looks great, eyes look great, everything looks phenomenal. Look at her eyes. Beautiful. Brought up all the details, brought out everything. So if we wanted to take this stuff to the next level, it's very, very easy for us. But look at their skin. I mean, they have beautiful skin anyways, and a gorgeous couple, but really brought out the eyes, brought out the warmth of the skin. The eyes are perfect. I don't really need to do much else to these. I could go in and do a little bit of tweaking, but you can see how double, right? Everything's there. There it is again. Same image, same image. Did the exact same adjustments along the whole way. So if that's something that really wants to get you into overdrive on your workflow, that's a really cool feature. For those people that want to do this, and let me do something here, I'll show you again. If you want to go ahead, and what I've done in the past is let's take a few images here. Let's take these 3. And I'm going to go ahead and export these. Now I'm going to just export them to the hard drive, and I'm going to come in here, and we're just going to go to new folder, PS workflow. This will be a Photoshop workflow. So if I want to come in here and just export a few of these, we're just going to show you how, if you want to make a few more controls and a few more changes, if you do have a few things in which you want to liquify, or some of the shirts bunching up and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to show you how we do that here. So just going to load up my Photoshop quickly. Now, we've done this way once or twice with a couple weddings. One, we felt really bad. The final dress fitting on the bride wasn't quite perfect, and just around sort of rib cage area, just up to kind of collarbone, it was a little bit non-conforming. So what we chose to do is do the workflow through Photoshop, because I've gone in, and this is how I do it. I came in and I found it very, very easy to, I'll pick some images that I know that I need to fix, let's say. And what I'll do is I'll come in here, let these open. Number 5. Here we go. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to filter version 2.0. So again, it's just going to open up the plugin, and it's going to allow me to make some adjustments. It's going to read the algorithms. Now it's going to go to the presets. I can go to Beautify. Let's go Beautify Plus right now. Okay, because I like that. I'm going to come back in here, version 2.0. What I want to do is come in and I just want to adjust that, so I can bring the exposure up a little bit if I want. Again, just very subtle, but I want to just brighten it up a bit. It was looking a little bit dark there. Vibrancy, no. Fidelity, standard. Really nice and rich and warm. The detail on her hair is coming back out now. Face slimming, I don't really need to slim her face because it's not on there. I don't need to enlarge her eyes, and I don't need auto red eye. So I'm going to shut some stuff off. So I really, really like that. Okay, I can come in and I can create a preset for that, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. Right. So what I'm going to do is then just come in, and maybe if I go OK, I just want to, I just want to crop that image down because I want it to look a little bit more dynamic, and then I can just come in and I can save that. So this is me going through, say, a wedding workflow. Now what I'm going to do is I've just hit Command F. What that does is it runs perfectly clear. The filter that I just made is going to run over that. So if I'm just going to crop these down, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Command F. And if I like this one, great. So you can see what it's done. It did the exact same things without the preset, but if I say, okay, well, I don't really like something there, this is where it allows me to come in and make any final adjustments just with the Photoshop tool. So changing her collarbone a little bit, everything else looks absolutely dynamic. Luke might want his chin brought up a little bit. Again, watch for those vertical trans lines. This arm, not a huge fan of it, but I'm not really going to work a lot on that today. But again, just cleaning things up so that, so that when they get their photos, she might go, oh, well, why does my shoulder, although she was putting all her weight down on that shoulder. So really cleans it up. I can go ahead and I can do that. Now, the one thing is if I go back to my filter, what's happened is it's gone into the Liquify. So hopefully I haven't confused you there. If I was to just go back and hit Command F, what it's going to do is you can see what it's done is it's shifted his shirt. So that's where you want to, it is a little bit, but you do want to come in version 2.0. And if I had made a preset, this is where you want to do this. Again, I mean, awesome job, like right off the get-go. I don't need face slimming. I don't need anything. I do want to come in here, standard vibrancy. Okay. What I want to do is just take a look. That looks great. So if I'm running through, if I do want to come in and I want to make that preset to speed my stuff up. So it's a bit of back and forth this way, I find, but what it allows me to do, if that's my image, create, just call it Luke, OK, and I'm going to come in here and hit OK. So, yeah, there might be a couple things that I might come in and change, so I'll show you this whole process again. I'm going to hit F for freeze, and I'm going to freeze something here, and what I'm going to do is just move her kind of arms straight and watch for his shirt and just kind of tighten that up a little bit. Okay, I don't want to do too much. Everything else looks really good, let's say. So now what I've done is the last preset I did was obviously my Liquify. Okay, so I can go ahead and I can do that. So again, a little bit of walking around depending on how much you really want to tweak. So if you go ahead and hit Command F, it's going to run through the Liquify. But if I come into my version 2.0, and what I've done is to speed up the process, is I've created that preset. So if I come in and preset, look for Luke. Where's Luke? Did I not save it? I maybe not have saved it. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to come in here. Let's call it Anna. Let's say that one there's it. I'm just going to hit OK. And if I don't want to change anything, that's totally fine. I see what I would change, but if I don't have to, I'll show you here. Command F. If I want to come back and let's just take these two. Again, just for fun. Again, the last filter that I applied was perfectly clear. So I could just go Command F. And there it is. It's done. Close it. Because a lot of times when you're really looking over your images, really get in the funk for your editing time. I find that what I try and do is really set time aside, get some great headphones, and just zone yourself out. Focus just on that task. What that helps you do is, instead of having a whole bunch of stuff pop up with the software, it's going to allow you to get in and get out of your stuff very, very quickly, efficiently, and again, get you back to working with your clients. So what I find is, on my system, we always set up, let me get rid of that, we always set up in the top right hand side here, do not disturb. So actually I don't have anything popping up like all my emails going on here and all my Skype and Firefox and Facebook. Nothing bothers me until 1:15. So if there's stuff in the morning that I'm doing and working with clients, I don't have that little reminder ding going off. A lot of times I have my phone turned on to silent. Sometimes I'll actually leave it in the house and I just don't even want to look at it. So what that does is it allows me to give the attention to detail to each and every file and each and every client. So if you want to get proficient at your workflow, certainly stick with these webinars. They're a fantastic thing to have in your back pocket. If you want to be proficient in that, turn off all your bells and whistles, turn off your noise, turn off your cell phone, turn off your Facebook, turn off your Twitter feed, and really give the client the focus that they deserve. So that's very important. Also, it allows you to go through a number of files and actually get in the flow of the wedding or of the portrait session. Too many times people want to try and confuse things. So I really love how the Perfectly Clear works with Lightroom. We have really worked a lot with Lightroom lately with a multitude of different pieces of software, and this one is by far my favorite. It works so seamlessly in the fact that I can export and not even look at the proofs. I can look at one and then really kind of tweak it, and I can do batch processing with it to really speed up workflow. So anyways, it's just phenomenal. So what I want to do is just go through here, Perfectly Clear. We've got some really cool webinars, some other great speakers coming up, and what have we got here? So for those who have been online today, totally appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun having you around. There we are, maximize your potential. So it's been awesome working with everybody today, and really, really appreciate it. What else we have is, there we go. Here she is. It is going to be a dynamic day when Christy Shirk comes in, Speed Up Your Portrait Retouch Workflow. She's awesome to listen to. Listen to a few of Keith Dixon's the other day. He's dynamic. Get online, check him out. And we have another one here, getting started with the Lightroom workflow. Very similar to what we did here today, but going to be working through probably a couple different photo shoots. So anyways, for those people that have checked in, thank you so much. Appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you soon again. Bye for now.